What's up, YouTube? Today's a beautiful day. Just hit chest and a little bit of triceps. Feeling really good. I actually did 2 plates for weighted dips today, which for me is pretty solid. But anyways, let's get to the video. The last video was very deep, philosophical. This time we're gonna take a little bit of a step back and kind of go right back to fitness, but this is still definitely a controversial topic, and it's definitely up to you as an individual how you see this within the fitness world, but I'm gonna give you my opinion without any filters, so by all means, here we go. Also, I'm not just pulling this opinion out of the dark, out of thin air. I've been working out pretty intense for the past 5 to 6 years. I'm 23. I was introduced to the weight room when I was 15, 16, but when I was like 17, 18 is when I really started to take it seriously. I'm a personal trainer. It's my career at this point. It's my job. So I just wanted to give you that as some background as to why I think this way. And yeah, let's go. Okay, this is a very bold opinion. This is a bold video, but I believe unless you're getting paid from your physique, like it's literally your career, whether you're competing in bodybuilding, you're a fitness model, a fitness influencer, any of that, it could be literally anything. But as long as you're getting paid strictly from your physique, unless you're getting paid for your body as a career, taking steroids, peptides, or any of that is just cope, okay? It's cope. And before you say, whoa, that's kind of like, you know, pretty mean to say, pretty judgmental, people don't realize how damaging PEDs, steroids, peptides, all of this can be towards your health, towards the long term. This is because we live in a time where all of that stuff has become completely normalized through social media. Every bodybuilder you know is on something. Every Gymshark athlete, every Young LA athlete, pretty much every clothing brand you can think of, their sponsors, they're most likely not natural, okay? And that's anyone who has a keen eye or has been in this for a while. It's not that hard to tell that pretty much everyone, honestly, like 90, 85% of the fitness industry is not natural. And maybe that's a big claim. Who knows what the actual percentage is? But the point is, over half is not natural. That's definitely, I'd be willing to bet that's true, okay? So you see, the big issue we're having is young people, or really just anyone that wants to get into the gym, is seeing these crazy physiques that are on something, right? These influencers, these fitness models, these bodybuilders, and it's not even their fault. It's sort of just like an indirect consequence. They see their physiques on social media all over the place, and they compare it to themselves, and then next thing you know, they end up taking steroids within 1 year of training just to try and get to that level, and it's like completely trying to sprint before you can even forget walk, like stand up. Like, let's be honest, that's a really good analogy for how much you're just rushing the process, and in my opinion, completely botching your own potential just to try and like what? Like for validation? Like I said, unless you're getting paid. And when I say that, okay, unless you're getting paid, I don't mean like millions, like some sort of like, you know, Chris Bumstead or Arnold, or even like Sam Sulek, someone like that, the Trent twins, Alex Eubank. There's a lot of smaller Gymshark influencers, or even like Young LA influencers that aren't big names like those ones, that do make a pretty good income, right? So even in that sense, I don't even care if it's just like a couple hundred. If you're making some money at all from your physique, then I think that justifies taking steroids, okay? Because at that point, it's your career. But if that's not the case, what are you doing? What are you doing? And if you want to argue that, well, I need to take this stuff, I need to inject testosterone, I need to take retatrutide, I need to take tren, whatever it may be, okay, to get to that level because that's my dream. And while yes, I would never tell you not to pursue your dream, still, back to my core opinion, I don't really think it makes sense to try and take something to get to that level that's really gambling with your health and playing with fire. You need to learn the essentials of fitness, okay? You need to become so comfortable with the process of working out, gaining muscle, losing fat, focusing on certain areas of the body, trying to grow those, learning new lifts, getting stronger in different lifts, seeing progressive overload in the big compound movements. It's essentially you trying to split the atom when it's the first day in the lab. I don't understand this desire to just rush the entire thing. You know what it is? It goes back to the topics in my last video. Everyone wants that quick reward, and that's honestly, I think, another attribute to why I think so many people are just hopping on like there's no tomorrow, because, you know, no one wants to train 1 to 2 years to see the physique. Even a year, that's just too much. You know, God forbid, we just give it all we have, everything we have, watch our diet maybe 60 to 70, 80% of the time. 80% of the time is if you want to be like really strict and see the results like now. In my belief, if you have like basic genetics, you can get away with monitoring your diet only like 60 to 70% of the time, and you're still gonna look pretty good if you work hard and work smart. Because I personally believe that less is more means a lot in a fitness sense. You need to learn what movements to do for your body to get the most out of your physique. Trying to do everything or spending 3 to 5 hours in the gym. Some people just work themselves to death and they don't realize that's hindering their own potential. So work smarter, not harder, especially if you're a natural. But you should be anyways, because if it's our first 1 to 3 years in the gym, how could you possibly be happy now? I would be annoyed. Like, I wanted to know, when I was younger, there was a lot of opportunities I had to possibly maybe take something. There was a lot of guys at the gym that I was working out at when I was 18 that weren't natural. They had crazy physiques, right? And they were like in their mid to early 20s, some of them older than that. What I'm saying is, they did offer me like this stuff like just to take because I guess we were friends or acquaintances. Of course, I just wasn't gonna take something from someone in a gym that I just met, no matter how in shape he was or how nice he was to me. Like, you know, I've always been smarter than that. You see, when I was younger, when I first got into the gym and it really mattered a lot to me, I really wanted to see my peak natural, you know, potential, what that would look like. I wanted to see, you know, I guess my best natural form, you know, down the line. And you'll never see that if you take something, even if you're like 22, you know, 21, I would argue that's still not old enough. Most men don't reach their prime till like, I think honestly, like late 20s, you know, mid 20s, the youngest, right? So if you take something at like 18, 19, testosterone, oh my gosh, or even like a SARM, anything that alters your hormones, you're never gonna be the same after that. Doesn't that bother you? Like knowing that you could have for like this short-term experience, and that's the thing, the cycle, okay, the peak of each cycle, you get like 3 months maybe, those 3D pumps where your muscles just look ridiculous, you know, lean and full at the same time. That like crazy look, you know what I'm talking about, that's just not achievable naturally. You look like you constantly have a pump, walking around dry, lean all the time. For someone that really cares about working out and is passionate about their physique, of course I could see why that's so enticing. But you gotta realize those benefits, they literally only last, that window of like peak physique only lasts like 1 to maybe 3 months, and that's being really generous. Why do you think these Olympia bodybuilders have to time their cycle so precisely, just at the right time? So during the show on stage, they look the craziest they possibly can, okay? But what do you think comes after that? Do you think you hold on to all of those gains forever? No. What comes after that? Well, your natural production of testosterone crashes. So who knows if you're ever gonna be able to produce the same amount of testosterone on your own. Who knows if your body will be capable of doing that in the future. If things are really bad, you might be relying on TRT, testosterone replacement therapy. You might be dependent on that for the rest of your life. Going to the doctor, I mean, that doesn't really sound like fun if you really think about it, just because you wanted to look sick in your 20s when you could have looked sick naturally. Like, I don't understand. You're also kind of ruining it for yourself, because if you're like me and you never take anything, you know what you're capable of as a natural, and because you've been working out so long. And while yes, you're always gonna want more out of yourself, at least I do, you're gonna be very proud and fulfilled with the feats you've accomplished in the gym. Since you've never taken anything, you don't have like that super freaky version of yourself to compare yourself to where you're always trying to match it, always trying to surpass it. But the thing is, if you take something, that version of you that was ripped, full, lean, dry all the time is gonna be haunting you for the rest of your fitness career, okay? And if you cannot match that naturally, that's gonna give you like a very bad mental state and sometimes a pretty dark depression. That's a lot more common than you think. And guess what? It's totally avoidable if you just maximize your natural capability, work hard and eat right. I know, it's crazy, right? So crazy. Stop with the excuses that you want to take this to look like this, or that you don't have good genetics, or that it's hard for you to eat right, or that you got injured in a sport 2 years ago and it hurts for you to bench. So you got to take something to get those gains faster. I've seen that a lot too. Those guys that have been injured, you know, sometimes they take stuff to recover much faster, because naturally it's going to take like a year, where as if they take like a peptide, that process is only going to be a few months. So of course I could see why that would be very tempting to just take something to recover faster. Okay, so fine, let me give some leeway. Unless you're getting paid from your physique, okay? Or you got into like some severe injury, some accident, and if you're in a situation where like, if you just take a peptide or something, your recovery time is essentially cut in half, we're talking, you know, months, even weeks versus years, I can understand that. But if you're just someone trying to get into the gym for the first time, or even get back into the gym, relive the glory days, then you should not be taking something. And if you are, once again, cope. That says a lot about you. In my opinion, that says a lot about you and your way of building yourself in life. I don't mean to come off like a jerk or like have this cynical, militaristic attitude where I'm like, there's no excuses, you have to be natural, give it all you got. Like, I understand that, okay? I'm not trying to sound like that, but it's just kind of getting ridiculous with how many, like, as a trainer, young kids I've seen taking something, and I'm asking them like, so how long you been working out? Okay, a few months. You see the issue? Okay, so when we're talking about an Olympian bodybuilder or even like an amateur bodybuilder that's still getting paid, an influencer that's getting paid a few hundred or 1,000, and that helps with rent, right? From their physique. In that sense, I understand it, and I think it's justifiable in that scenario when you're getting paid from your physique, regardless of who you are, the bodybuilder, the influencer, the fitness model, it doesn't matter to me really. I totally understand giving your career everything you have, so that to me is justifiable. But if that isn't the situation, you're doing so much damage for yourself that you can't even really comprehend because the consequences aren't right now, right? Only the benefits are. And how does that not scream bad? How is that not a huge red flag to you? You know what I mean? Stay away. Build the foundation of yourself naturally. Build muscle naturally. Become comfortable with being lean and having a good amount of muscle while being able to lift heavy, eating clean, enjoying life. You can do it all as a natural. Okay, fine, you're not gonna look like Arnold Schwarzenegger. You're not gonna be as big as like a Trent twin. You're not gonna have like this overwhelming amount of muscle, maybe not, but you can still look good. You can't tell me that it's impossible to look good as a natural. You cannot make that argument. I'll sit with you for an hour. You're not making that argument to me. If you want to use me as an example, I'm 5'5", I'm 160 right now, 159, right on like the cusp. And I'm not saying this to sort of brag or like, you know, be like, oh, look at me. That's not what I'm saying this for. I just want to put it in perspective. Let's just throw one lift out there. I can squat 430. I can do 405 for like 6-7 reps. You know, I've done a bodybuilding show. You know, I can do that with like abs and stuff, you know, and that's the thing. I've seen natural guys my age that are more than me, that are better than me, okay? So yes, this may have taken a while to get here, but I never had the best genetics. I never had some Superman genetic set. I was never a freak athlete. Yeah, I played sports. I played football and lacrosse. I was never like the star of the team or anything like that. I just wanted it bad. I just really cared about my health and my physique and gaining muscle. My anger about not having the physique I wanted gave me so much will, which in turn gave me discipline to keep going at it no matter what, trial and error, find a way to get that physique, find a way to get stronger, find a way to get leaner, whatever it is I was trying to do. I knew that it wasn't outside of my capability. I knew that it wasn't impossible for me to get the physique I wanted. I didn't see my abs for the first time until I was 18. Okay, I'm 23. Grew up chubby and flimsy kind of like my whole life. Yes, I played sports. I got more athletic around like 13, 14. I was a pretty athletic kid, yeah, but like I said, nothing crazy, nothing extraordinary, not the star athlete, nothing like that. Not setting any records, you know, just showing up, just giving it what I got. Just caring so much to the point where I'm willing to put everything on the line. And while I'm not saying you have to be as obsessed as I was or as obsessed as I am, what I'm trying to say to you is that your will and the vision that you have for yourself is everything. The consistency that you put into that vision is gonna determine the person you become. I know this kind of got a little bit broader as the video went on, so I want to apologize for that if we kind of lost our way, but please stay natural, give it a shot, trust yourself, train hard, work smart, and eat right. If you just give that 3 to 4 weeks of your time, you're gonna see results, especially if you're just getting started in the gym. That's honestly when the muscle gain is the most intense, the first 1 to 2 years. So if anything, in the beginning of your gym career, you have every reason to give it all that you have and no excuse to take something as a shortcut or some sort of validation in regards to yourself trying to prove why you deserve to be viewed as like the pinnacle of fitness or the peak of human aesthetics. Get that out of your head. That's kind of toxic. Get all that out of your head, kill the noise, and focus on yourself. All right, guys, that was a pretty intense video. It got more intense than I thought it was gonna be, but thank you for watching as always. If you like this type of content, subscribe. We're gonna be more consistent on this channel. Reach out to me for online personal training. Let's work together to get the best physique of your life. But as always, thank you so much for watching this video. Choose the natural path if you're just beginning your fitness career. You won't regret it in the future. In fact, I bet you're gonna be very thankful for the decision you made now to stay natural. In fact, I bet you're gonna be super satisfied and almost relieved that you made the decision to give it everything you got as a natural. You got this. I believe in you. See ya, YouTube.